Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things Podcast, where we talk about toys, movies, music, and all manner of pop culture dorkery. I am your host, Dave, and if you thought last week that our Toy Fair coverage was done, then you just don't know how we do things around here, because this week, Mr. Beau Brown returns to the show to talk about not only Super 7's Masters of the Universe presence at Toy Fair, but also other Masters of the Universe news and items, and a couple other things Super 7 had at Toy Fair that are not He-Man related. But before we get to that, I've got a couple of things that are He-Man related. So Super 7 has a few different lines of Masters of the Universe toys at this point. They've got their reaction figures, of which I've got a couple. They have the vintage style figures, which our friend Rad Ranger is currently collecting, and I am envious of. I'm not going to lie, because as I've mentioned on the show, and as I mentioned on today's show, as a matter of fact, those vintage style figures, which if you're not familiar with them, they're the size and shape of the old Masters of the Universe toy line from 1983 to 87, I think. But they're done in the style of the cartoon. So in my head, that's how those always should have looked. But Super 7 also is they're continuing the Masters of the Universe Classics style, but using the cartoon designs in that scale. And when they put up the ultimate versions of He-Man and Skeletor, which are kind of their way of making them available, well, not kind of, it's absolutely their way of making those two available again for people who want to collect the Filmation-inspired Classics line, which I think is called Club Grayskull or Castle Grayskull or whatever. So they put up the previews of these Ultimate Editions of He-Man and Skeletor based on the animation, and I just really liked what I saw. The colors looked so vibrant and cool. I love a good Skeletor figure. I have not been collecting this version of the line, but I saw the Skeletor with his bright yellow face and his clean lines, and the colors just looked so vibrant. And I was like, man, I wouldn't mind having that Skeletor. But then what really got me was the robot head that comes with the He-Man figure, because they showed vintage robot He-Man first. I was like, oh man, I like that really deranged looking robot head. That would be cool to have, but I'm not collecting those. I'm not going to start. And then they showed this Ultimate He-Man that is a fantastic looking animated style He-Man figure that comes with 3 additional heads. The robot head, a laughing He-Man head that is the same as the laughing Prince Adam, which I also have, and then some kind of like hypnotized He-Man or something. I don't know what's going on with that head, and it doesn't specify on the packaging here. But anyway, as I was talking to Mr. Beau Brown, I was kicking myself for not pre-ordering these back when they went up. I was just like, man, I'd really like to have those, because as we talk, we go through pages of the various websites, the manufacturers, Toy Arc, the Fwoosh, wherever, has toy news. And I saw these guys. I was just like, damn it, I really should have pre-ordered those. Well, the next day, they come in the mail. So apparently I did obviously I did pre-order them, and it had slipped my mind, because I really was positive I hadn't done it, because I've been very disciplined about not going too far outside. Aside from my current Transformers immersion, I've been really good about not going too far outside of my normal range of collecting lately. But these guys fortunately caught my eye, and now that they're here, I am just thrilled with them. I haven't opened them yet because I want to review them, and I just haven't felt like sitting down and taking the pictures and everything. But I'm excited to open these guys up and play around with them. And so the funny thing is, these arrived on the 26th, and I got an email notifying me that they had shipped on the 27th. So Super 7's shipping has gotten so good that they're actually shipping things to the past now. Anyway, I don't know. That little joke went a little better in my head when I was thinking about it earlier, but that was prior to 12 hours of work and of training, and which, by the way, I've got a trainee at work, which is taking some of my attention. Well, I know it's taking a lot of my attention because he's a trainee. He's got to be trained. He's got to be able to do the job right. But fortunately, and I might have mentioned this last week, fortunately he's smart, he's quiet, and he's humble, and that's great. But I am not able to focus on my hobbies quite as much as I usually do. So I wasn't really thinking about this too much at all, which is why this intro may be even more rambling than they usually are. But to get back on track, super stoked that I got these Masters of the Universe figures. Can't wait to check them out. Reviews will be up on needlessthingspodcast.com at some time in the future. You may have noticed over there that we've been pretty good with content lately. I'm very proud of us for having taken a more relaxed approach, as I keep mentioning week after week. It's really making me enjoy the writing and the doing and the posting more. So that's working out really well. I've got a great Transformers post coming up next week, and I will be doing sort of a collective review of the new Transformers Siege toys, probably working on that Monday and Tuesday. We'll see how that goes. But I started out, and this happens a lot, especially when I'm writing about a fresh topic or something that I haven't written about in quite some time, is I'll sit down, I'll start to write the review, and all of my reviews I do an introduction, which is kind of how the character or the toy or the line or whatever it is, my personal interaction with it. So in sitting down to write about these Transformers Siege figures, my intro is, here's some of my history with Transformers, and it turned into an entire post unto itself because I cannot successfully summarize my relationship with Transformers in just a few paragraphs. As a matter of fact, even the post that's up in the draft, or I guess scheduled. It's not a draft, it's scheduled. Even the post that's in the queue now, there you go, in the queue, isn't as complete as it should be, because once I finished it and was satisfied with the information that was in it, I realized that it was lacking one major part, and that's Beast Machines, which I absolutely love and may actually be my favorite version of the Transformers. But I skipped over it because I'm so focused on G1, because these Siege figures are very much rooted in G1. So my focus was on stuff related to that. I didn't think about Beast Wars once while I was writing, but I was never into Beast Wars, so that kind of makes sense. But Beast Machines, I just kind of glossed over because it's not these traditional versions of the characters. So that's going to be a whole other post at some point in the future. And then there are a couple of inaccuracies in there. I pointed them out, but I left them because, to me, it's important in my writing for it to reflect my personal views and experience. I don't want anything I write to seem like I'm regurgitating anything from Wikipedia or opinions that I've read on the internet. Just the other day, I saw a comment on Facebook that seems very much like the person just sort of, I read this somewhere else and now I'm typing it here. And later on, it was kind of verified that they didn't have the knowledge to be expressing the opinion that it had been expressed. And I see that all the time when somebody just blurts out something that's almost word for word I've seen in a dozen other places and acts as though it's their personal opinion that they developed through their own judgment system and life experience. And there's more and more of that, and I hate it. I don't hate it. That's too strong a word. I have no respect for it. If you're going to regurgitate an opinion, just don't say anything. You don't need to contribute to the conversation. It's like an unsolicited meh. If that's all you have to say, keep it to yourself. Now, if somebody asks for your opinion and your opinion is genuinely meh, that's one thing. But to interject yourself into a conversation to offer up a meh, what kind of jackass have you got to be for that? Anyway, I don't need to go off on some crazy tangent about social media etiquette because now it's time to sit down with Mr. Beau Brown and just have a wonderful conversation about Masters of the Universe, because that's what we do. You guys, enjoy. Hey, Beau.
Hey, Dave.
Do you want to talk about Masters of the Universe?
Do I?
Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy. Does the Pope wear a funny hat?
So let me tell you this. I'm actually sitting here. This is every once in a while here on the Needless Things podcast when Mr. Beau Brown shows up. We'll talk about things that you can actually enjoy right now as opposed to maybe or maybe not being able to enjoy months or even years from now.
Right.
And right now, you can go, if you have Comcast or perhaps other providers, I don't know, Starz Encore has the first 2 seasons of the 80s cartoon up for free.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is very cool because Netflix has had the first season in the past, but the second season, it's kind of rare to see streaming. So I'm actually, I just finished watching Fisto's Forest.
If you know what I mean.
You know exactly what I mean.
I actually just got my delivery today. I just got my Club Grayskull shipment. Grizzlor, She-Ra, Mantenna, and Fisto.
Oh, wow. So have you had a chance to get to them yet, or are they still in the box?
I've taken them out of the mailer boxes so that I can see them through the window, the window box.
Yeah.
And I've got them all up on my shelf or my little area. And I'll probably open one tomorrow. You know, now that they come in waves, I tend to open one, then wait, a couple of weeks, and open another and sort of spread them out.
Yeah.
Now that I don't get one every month anymore, I try to spread out the love.
That's a solid plan. That's definitely.
Yeah.
And so,
but they all look really good. They really do. It's a really solid wave of good characters that I think look great in the cartoon style.
Well, that's good, and I'm curious to know what the your final opinion is, because Toy Fair just happened, and we've got more than just Toy Fair to talk about, but
right.
The thing that I never thought would happen is happening, was announced, and not only was announced, but they had the prototypes there on display, and that is the 1987 movie figures.
And I think that your comment about the actual title of the line
yes,
is so important and so on point, and respect, and the level of respect. I think that's just fantastic.
It blew my mind. I mean, obviously, seeing the movie versions of now granted, we don't really have a Dolph Lundgren likeness, it doesn't look like, but that's okay. But it's the movie versions of He-Man, of Skeletor, of Karg, right?
Yes, Karg, yeah.
And then the surprise, because in the initial pictures he's off in a different picture with Conan, but the big golden god Skeletor as well.
Yeah.
So seeing those was a shock at first, but then to scroll down and see that it's actually called the William Stout collection, because basically everything that's good in that movie came from William Stout, who is, right. I can consider a friend of the show, who's been on several Needless Things podcasts, recordings live from Dragon Con, something I'm very proud of. But the guy is brilliant. And
that's not something they've ever done. They've never been like, this is this right. artist's wave. I mean, so the fact that they did that, you know, and I watched the Pixel Dan interview with Super 7, and basically the reason it happened was that they weren't Mattel. You know, that Mattel just kept telling them no because there was so much bad blood between the people who made the film and Mattel that they just wouldn't let them do it because, you know, everything was just left on such bad terms. And so when Super 7, you know, and you know, to their credit, you know, they worked on it. This was a thing that they probably were working on from the moment that Super 7 got the license.
Well, if I remember correctly, early on there was an exchange with, oh gosh, I can't remember his name now. Brian Flynn? Is that the Super 7 guy, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
But early on there was an exchange where somebody asked about movie designs, and I want to say he quoted something that Matt Neitlich had said, but Scott Neitlich. But then after it, put a maybe not or something. Like he did something very cryptic that suggested they were already in pursuit of this. So I absolutely think you're right that this.
Well, he was definitely in pursuit of it, and I think that what it boiled down to was that he wasn't Mattel, and that he didn't have all that baggage that the film folks and that Mattel had, and so, you know, they had made the comics the He-Man magazine card colors. Mm-hmm. They were like, hey, so at some point they still didn't have the rights,
right?
And so they were able to do the magazine colors card as a way to get around the fact that they didn't have the license. But then he obviously worked it out to his amazing credit. You know, he did what Mattel couldn't. And then, you know, the other part of it is, you know, that they've really learned their lesson with showing, you know, figures really in progress.
Yeah, yeah.
And having the fans rip it apart and nitpick every stupid little detail. And so when they showed these figures, they were pretty much done.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
like,
I'm sitting here looking at them right now.
There's not, you know, it wasn't like, oh, these are the Paint Masters or whatever. Like, these were, you know.
The versions with the weird flaws around the joints where you can tell the painting is in progress, or like the,
you know, these and the sculpting, man, the sculpts on Skeletor, both sculpts on Skeletor, I mean, they're perfect.
Yes.
They're unbelievably good and unbelievably detailed. It's nuts. And so, you know, for them to have Karg in there as a repaint, I'm like, yeah. Do you have any idea how much sculpting and tooling went into Skeletor and God Skeletor and He-Man? Like, yeah, I'm fine with the Karg repaint.
Well, and for them to do the movie accurate He-Man and Skeletors, you know, you really need a repaint of Karg. Like it's not an unnecessary thing.
The fact that they saved the tooling budget on Karg.
Yes.
Because I mean, you look at He-Man, there are no maybe the hands.
Sure.
If you look at there, he has veins on his muscles on his upper arms and forearms that aren't there. Those are there's no standard parts on that He-Man.
Well, and you know what? I'm even looking at the hands, and I don't think even the hands.
I think they're 100%. I think every single piece of it is brand new. And now maybe Skeletor has, like, you know, because he's got so much clothes on.
Right.
You know, maybe that's a standard torso under. That's probably a standard torso under there. But those are really, for this line, unbelievably detailed figures.
Well, and I also wonder if part of calling it the William Stout collection is that everything that we see in these figures was specifically designed by William Stout. And I wonder if maybe there's even sort of a not acknowledgement of the movie here, and that the reason they're able to do it is because it's his designs.
That's you're probably 100% right.
But whatever the case, they look beautiful. And another good reason for the Karg repaint is a lot of people like myself who wanted Karg but didn't want to order that wave that he was part of.
Sure.
This is our opportunity to get in on that.
That's true. Yeah.
Because
so I'm super
order
excited, and they fixed. I think they fixed an issue with Karg's hook in the original. And it was I think a different way in the magazine. So it's not just so there is a part of Karg that's a different sculpt, and the hook is actually different.
Okay.
More movie accurate. So I mean, you jump to the chase. I mean, you really cut to the chase. It's all going to be downhill from here because that was the best thing.
Well, but here's the thing, though, is we get these movie figures, but does this open up? I mean, because now, well, for sure, we've got to get an Evil Lyn. We've got to get a Sorceress.
I think we'll definitely, we'll probably get another wave of non-movie figures, and then maybe we'll get Evil Lyn, Tila, Man-at-Arms, and Lubick.
Oh my gosh, Lubick would be great.
Yeah, that's my call.
You know what's funny though is Lubick is almost a tough call because he would also require 100% new tooling. Because
all of them would. I mean,
Well, I think you could fake out Tila a bit.
Skinny Man-at-Arms. He's not beefy. Standard.
I don't think they're going to
buck Man-at-Arms.
I don't think they're going to do skinny Man because if you look at, Skeletor in the movie is not buff like this. Frank Langella did not have Arnold's muscles, so there's some leeway for interpretation.
That's true, yeah.
But we've never had guy in a trench coat in the Masters of the Universe Classics line.
That's what I mean. My preference would be that would be my dream next wave. Like, I don't care about the kids. Like, fuck those guys. Like, they're not what's important.
Right.
To me, the wave would be Man-at-Arms, Tila, Evil Lyn, and Lubick. Now,
you might, but I think Sorceress is more likely than Lubick.
Yeah. Sorceress or like Grizzlor Beastman.
Yeah.
Who you would get Beastman or. I mean, that's it. That was it.
They've already done the reptile, unless they do a repaint of.
Yeah, they've done Sarad. And so it's just Beastman, Evil Lyn, Sarad, and Karg. So so
I bet
that's true. You might get Beastman. You might get movie Beastman, but my preference would be Lubick.
I bet we see a Sarad repaint, which is fine. If we're getting them,
No, I don't want a Sarad repaint.
Well, I don't want one, but look, if we're getting these. And that's what they have to do to cost them out. I'll buy another Sorod. I don't care.
That's fair.
So this is fantastic news. Was one of the first things I saw at Toy Fair. I was immediately once again Super 7. Past couple of years, they've had lots of awesome stuff. I love them. They're great. But we do have more to talk about. That's the big one. But I'm excited about the PowerCon exclusives that were announced this year.
Yes, and the PowerCon exclusives look really good. It's that's the one thing I didn't have.
I've got them pulled up. It's,
go ahead.
Samurai, who is obviously Ninjor, except he's a samurai.
Slamurai.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Slamurai. Which is the greatest rap name ever. And these two really awesome Horde Snake Men. Now, I don't know the basis for any of those three characters. What is this?
Okay, so Slamurai was kind of like, he's part of the characters that were designed to my understanding, as the last wave. So like the last group, last year's PowerCon exclusives, like I forget what They were basically like an unproduced final wave that was entirely based on on max, like just using parts.
Right.
They were 100% reused. They had no new tooling on them at whatever.
Yeah.
And they were really these like grab bag, mix mash kinds of characters. And so Slamurai was he was teased. He's actually on the box art of that set that came out last year.
Oh, okay.
And he's basically like a good guy Ninjor. You know, he's a repaint of Ninjor, and he's a white ninja guy. You know, he's your Storm Shadow to your, you know,
Snake Eyes. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to tell you, I mean, he looks great. I really like
he's
his
super
look.
cool looking, yeah. And he has a fabric outfit, which Ninjor didn't have, but did in the vintage line. So that's really cool. To get the fabric outfit. And
he's got an extra. Well, he's got an extra samurai head too. Like he comes with the regular white. Like he comes with the repaint Ninjor head with the white mask and the blue eyes. But he also comes with an actual samurai head with like a samurai helmet. A lot of sculpting on this helmet.
Yeah,
that's a completely new head. It's very cool. I like it.
And then you get 2 Snake Men, and so this is great because these are basically like an army building set.
Yeah,
where you've got black horde armor and new snake heads. So you can have your snake. You can have your snake. Horde
you can have your snake and eat it too.
You can have your snake and eat it too, or you can pop those snake heads off, put them on your old Snake Men, generic Snake Men warriors, and then switch out other horde heads or any heads on these new cool, like, elite black, horde trooper bodies. So basically they took the two main army builders of the old line, which were the Snake Men and the horde troopers, and have just sort of managed to plump the ranks through both. Now, what I don't like is that both of them get blast attacks
stupid ass pogo axe.
Stupid ass weapon. Which I don't understand what the thought process is along there. Now,
what's funny about it though is the stupid pogo axe has paint apps on it.
Right.
It's gold, but you can look and see that there are at least 3 different paint apps on this thing because they're gold highlights.
I don't know. I have no idea what the thought process on that was, but on the other hand, the Horde Troopers came with so many weapons.
Yeah.
They came with the staff, with a shield, they came with the stun baton, they came with, like, one other thing, the Horde crossbow. So, like, there's no shortage of Horde Trooper accessories in my accessory kit to give to these guys.
Well, that's the thing.
So,
I've got a whole drawer full. I've got a massive drawer full of classics weapons, so I'm not even worried about that.
So on one hand, I'm like, why this? Why this? But on the other hand, I'm like, well, I didn't need another whole set of all those other accessories that I already have tons of. I can kind of see it, but it's just a weird. It's a weird pit.
At least it's not the Snake Men staff again.
No, thank goodness, no. What it should have been is fucking Snake Armor He-Man's shield that we still don't have.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. Holy crap!
We still don't
completely
have that.
Forgotten about that.
I hadn't forgotten.
Never.
This guy didn't forget.
Hashtag never forget.
Never forget.
So
it's okay. So it's Slamurai, the 2 snake guys, and who's the 4th one?
Well, those 3 come together. Those are being sold.
It's the 3 that come together. Okay, so it's just the 3 of them.
And then
it's still a solid wave.
Yeah. Well, but then the one that's a separate is Horde Zombie He-Man, which is Slime Pit He-Man, which is gorgeous, translucent green, bright red eyes with black shit around them.
Is it ticking your boxes, Dave? Is it ticking those boxes?
Oh, dude, it's hitting them all. I'm like at half-mast right now over this figure. He's got 3 different heads. He comes with all the He-Man weapons, the shield, the sword, the axe. He's translucent green. He's got deck. Oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. Yeah. I'm going to order one.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's been a fan favorite for a long time. He's been, there's a bajillion customs of him. The thing is though, is I do want it, of course, but I have also like a million He-Mans, and what I want is the slime pit.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Like it's a much more of all the play sets, it's the smallest and most manageable, and I think most iconic. Small. I mean, there's nothing like the slime pit in all of the other He-Man stuff.
Right.
There's big play sets, but this was this like small play set that had this one action feature. And it was the one that everybody had, like the slime pit was
affordable.
Was huge.
It was affordable, so it was something that
Right.
people got when they couldn't get Castle Grayskull because it cost too much.
Yeah, and it was hugely successful, because and the other thing is like, the Fright Zone didn't look like anything. It just was like a weird cave and
the cave and tree playset.
The cave and tree playset that didn't look anything like anything on the cartoon or anything like anything in the comics, but there was something about the playability, and I mean, I don't know, the slime pit just captured the imaginations of kids.
Well, it's slime
in a way that the Fright Zone never did.
Nothing like slime in the 80s. From You Can't Do That on Television to Ghostbusters to He-Man to everything.
To Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Slime was like currency back then, and the slime pit was the place. It was the centerpiece. It was the thing that actually used the slime as opposed to making it something that you just ruined your mother's coffee table with.
Right. And there's a reason that what's the other company that basically totally made the slime pit?
Well, I mean, Mattel has released a ton of different slime pits for different lines. There's a Harry Potter slime pit.
No, but the one that looks exactly like it. It's like a little Egyptian-y, and that's it.
Oh, that's Mattel. It's the Imaginext. They did the
Imaginext. Like so Imaginext. There's a basically Imaginext they made the slime pit. They made a Roton that's exactly like a Roton, and there's like one other He-Man thing that they ripped off.
Well, the thing is, Imaginext is a Mattel brand, so they're using their own things, but they're sort of paying tribute.
But the point is that the one that they did was the slime pit.
Yes,
because it's the one that's iconic.
Yeah.
So for me, like to get slime pit He-Man, I just all it does is make me want the slime pit more.
Well, here's the thing. If enough of us buy Slime Pit He-Man...
No.
Yes.
Doing play sets is totally different than buying figures.
Have faith.
All right. I'll have faith.
You got to believe, like Parappa the Rapper said.
You too. It's true. You got to believe. All right. So I love Slime Pit He-Man. I'm definitely going to get him. The other big thing about the PowerCon things is they're finally doing another Muscles trash can.
Yes.
Of Wave 2.
Yes.
Because I'm really only interested in buying the Muscles in the trash can and get the whole wave.
Yeah, I don't want
to buy the little sets in different colors.
And I don't want to buy the
trash can with all the characters, and that's it. That's all I want.
I don't want to buy the boxes where you don't know what you're getting.
No, I hate the blind boxes. I really wish that they would do the She-Ra and Horde Keshis as the garbage cans.
Yeah, and they will. They will. Look,
probably 2 years from now we'll get them. But I really, that's what I want. I just want to buy the wave in the garbage can, and that's it. I don't want to buy the individual packs. I'm not interested.
Super 7 are very smart. They know how to give us enough to keep us happy while also teasing us. Like they have, because we've already seen a couple of times now where they've put a product out there and said, okay, here, you can have this, but if you want the rest of this, you can either do it in this way that's going to make us a lot of money, or you're just going to have to wait a couple of years until we release it in a regular format.
And I'm fine waiting the couple of years.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. So yeah, I'm super stoked about the garbage can. But the final thing for PowerCon that really surprised me was the She-Ra, the 12-inch She-Ra.
Yeah. So it's like the other 12-inch She-Ra that had been released previously, which I have 2 of. Actually, I bought 3. I bought 1 for my niece, and I bought 2 for me so that I could display her as Adora and as She-Ra.
Yes.
And yeah, that they had put the other characters. They had shown the other versions of basically other characters in that scale.
Yeah, they had they had Catra.
Yeah,
and they had a few different styles too, because they had one style.
They had the Monster High version.
Right.
But this is a different She-Ra that I dig, and I'll probably get it.
The cape alone, because she's very clearly wearing Macho Man Randy Savage's cape.
Well, so Bubble Power She-Ra, it's because no, it's not Bubble Power. It's like Starburst.
I don't know. The headdress to me looks like the same one that Mattel released.
Oh no, I know what it is. It's the vintage She-Ra. It's vintage figure She-Ra.
Oh, that's why her skirts look like that.
Right, that's what it is.
Okay.
It's the way that her helmet / thing worked. Yeah. So what she is she's the original vintage figure She-Ra that was much more like, that didn't look like you looked on the cartoon.
Oh no! Wait a minute, I'm looking right now. It is. It's you. You were right the first time. It's Starburst She-Ra.
Oh, it's like Starburst.
You're totally right.
Okay. So this was like a variant version that, because it's just like He-Man. There's they made a bunch of different She-Ras.
Yeah.
Bubble Power She-Ra and whatever. So she looks good. I'll get her. And in fact, that reminds me that I need to bring my She-Ra out. I don't actually have her on display. I should really get her out here.
For the listeners who might be interested in these, the PowerCon exclusives go on sale April. Oh man, I had it right here. They go on sale in April, and you can buy them even if you're not attending PowerCon.
You have to buy. You buy like a special badge.
Yeah,
it's like you buy a attendee badge.
Well, it's
a discounted price.
It's a non-attendee badge. So you buy the non-attendee badge, and then you can buy. I think several.
Basically, the toys have a cover charge.
Right, yes. It's like going to the Renaissance Festival, where you have to pay to get in, and then you also have to pay.
And once you're in, you can buy the stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that, you know what? That's fine, because the fact that they're doing these exclusives at all is such a cool thing to me.
No, and they're great exclusives. Like I've gotten almost all the exclusives. I mean, every now and then there's something weird, like that I don't get, because I try not to feel like I have to get everything.
Yeah.
And I only get the stuff that I really do like. But no, all the PowerCon exclusives have been pretty great.
Yeah, I still am kind of kicking myself for not, because I ordered whatever year they had the green. What's his name? The dragon.
Granomir.
Yes, I ordered Granomir and whoever else for you that year, right? Mm. And when I went in and I placed the order, because I don't know if you were I don't know what the deal was, but I was like, should I get these? I don't need them. And now I'm kicking myself for not getting a green Granomir. So this year,
I'm looking at him right now. He's sitting on my mantle, my fireplace mantle, just with one leg hanging over the edge.
Stop taunting me.
He looks awesome.
Stop taunting me with green Granomir. But this year, whatever we work out with ordering these things, I am for sure getting Horde Zombie He-Man.
Yeah.
And a slime can. And I tell you
I'll buy the pass thing, and then you can piggyback on me.
Okay.
That's fine. Totally.
I'm good with that. All right.
I'm going to get it anyway.
So the PowerCon stuff looks really, really cool this year. I find it all very appealing. Like if I was just going to drop a bundle of money, this to me are some of the best PowerCon exclusives.
They're really good. Yeah. No, I agree.
The next thing I want to talk about, and I'm very interested to hear your input on this one, is the Mega Construx Castle Grayskull.
Yes. So I have the Mega Construx,
Because you got the Wind Raider and the set of the figures, right?
Yeah. So I never bought them individually.
Right.
It just happened that they released them as a set, and I bought the set, and then I bought the Wind Raider, and I have to say that building the Wind Raider, I don't do Legos. I've never been a Lego person. My son has some Legos, but we're not like super into it. I didn't do Legos as a kid. I had friends who had Legos, but I wasn't a Lego kid. And building the Wind Raider I was like, oh, this is why people love this. This is really like therapeutic, and I'm really enjoying just sitting down here and like following the instructions and building this thing that I already know that I like.
Yeah.
I'd never really done that before. I had never really sat down and built a Lego set, So it was great. And so that was really, that coupled with the fact that it's like a 36,000 piece set, I think that the scale of the Mega Construx figures really works. I did that picture of Titus and the little Mega Construx He-Man.
Yeah.
And the scale, their little scale works really well with other toys.
Well, and that to me is one of the big advantages of this playset is as much as I love the Classics Castle Grayskull, it's fantastic. It's everything I wanted it to be. But scale-wise, there's just no way around the fact that it never could have been big enough to actually...
Well, it actually wasn't. They had to enlarge it. They had to add to the base of it because they realized that,
right.
part of the...
They couldn't even walk in the door.
That you could put Battle Cat and He-Man, He-Man on Battle Cat on the drawbridge and have He-Man not hit his head.
Right. And
so they added a whole bottom section and lowered the drawbridge, part.
And look,
so that it was tall enough.
I love it. It's a fantastic. It's the best playset I've ever owned in my life. But there's no way around the fact that it just doesn't. It's not big enough for the figures. Whereas the figures
are bigger, and it's just so it's. And I think that they learned that lesson. That's why Snake Mountain is so big.
Well, which will believe me, we're going to get to Snake Mountain. That's
so it is. So the Mega Construx, the problem. Well, and this ties right back into that is my only issue really with the Mega Construx Castle is that it's coming out the same year as Snake Mountain.
Right. Well, but is it?
Well, they've announced it. So they've announced it. So you're planning like I'm going to spend how much money, right?
Well,
and you're like,
and
my God, This is. I'm looking at spending $250 and then $600 on playsets.
Well, here's the thing:
that's just a very big number to deal with for me, who only collects one thing.
Since we're discussing Castle Grayskull, right now you can go to GameStop.com. As far as I know, this is the only place that's already pre-ordering.
It's the only place as far as I know too.
It's $250, free shipping, which is great. The planned release date is January 1st of 2020, and as someone that worked at GameStop in the past, I can tell you all that means is they don't know when the fuck it's coming out.
Right.
But
I ordered my Wind Raider set a year and a half ago, maybe. Like, I don't even remember.
Right.
It was one of those things like my Mondo figures that I ordered forever ago, and like, they'll get here when they get here. Right. I'm not really worried about it, So it's just you order it so far in advance that it's just this nebulous thing that eventually shows up at your house,
Well, and that's so we have Castle Grayskull in all likelihood coming out next year, and
it comes with a whole set of figures. It comes with a Faker. Or what? So there's like a Red Beastman.
It comes with Red Beastman, Snake Goddess Tila, Sorceress,
the Goddess Tila,
and Mustacheless Man-at-Arms.
Well, that's Man-at-Arms. which I don't have yet. So.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's just standard Man-at-Arms for this line then. Okay.
No, they'll probably. Well, I don't know because I think they're doing it. I think they're doing another wave that has like Evelyn and some other characters in it. So they'll probably so that for my year that will be, probably a wave of those guys plus the castle and the wave that comes with that. Yeah. The other really amazing thing about getting the Mega Construx castle is that I have a bunch of the Chinese Lego minifig bootlegs, like your Trapjaw that I gave you.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll be able to use your... I'll be able to set my Lego minifigs up in this giant, for them, castle. Because they're smaller than the Mega Construx figures.
Yeah, the Mega Construx are almost twice as big as Lego minifigs.
Yeah. So that's really exciting to me. Do they fit? Is the pegs the same?
Yeah, the pegs are standardized at this point. The Lego peg, I don't know if it's trademark or copyright or what the appropriate term is, but that Lego peg is basically public domain now.
That's good. Yeah. So I'm testing it right now, and they do it just fine. So that's great. So I'll probably put my Lego guys in the castle rather than the Mega Construx people actually.
Well, I mean, I like the Mega Construx people.
I do too.
But I have this weird part of me that's a bit of a Lego purist that Lego minifig look is what goes with our building bricks. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So
my guys will be in there.
And if anybody listening, if you're sort of balking at the price because it's $250, but 3,600 piece Lego sets would be around $375.
Well, that's what I saw. It was because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Lego guy, so I had no idea like what. I was like, wow, $250. That seems like a lot.
It's
But then
not.
I also read somewhere that your standard price for a Lego like playset was like $175, and it had less than half of those pieces.
Yeah, that Lego...
So I was like, okay, all right, well, if that's the baseline, then this seems reasonable, yeah.
You can generally relate the number of bricks a Lego set has to the price, so a 3,600-piece Lego set would be... And it would also depend on how much new tooling is involved with the bricks in the set, but it could be $375 to $400. So I mean, this $250.
So it's not a bad deal.
Oh, it's a fantastic deal, and that's the case with all of the Mega Constructs or the Mega Blocks or whatever. That's always the advantage they've had is that comparatively, a Mega Block set costs a good bit less than a Lego set.
Right. Well, I will take it. I will take Mega Constructs undercutting Lego.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about Castle Grayskull. Let's talk about the thing that I have literally no information about. I hope you have a tad more than I do, because all I've seen is the placard that Super 7 had up that said Snake Mountain pre-order May 2019. Do you have any more information than that? Because you shot me a price, but I can't find it anywhere online where they even mentioned a possible price.
The forums that I follow, that's the price that has been pretty consistent. The reason that they didn't bring it is that it's basically exactly what they showed at San Diego.
Sure.
So like they were like, look, we didn't bring it because it's huge and it's big and it's like a whole case.
And we've
you've
got
already
other...
seen, like there's nothing changed. Everything that's in it that you saw last time is there.
And we have other neat stuff that we want you to look at.
We gave you the news. The news is that it's actually going to happen.
Right.
And it's for sale. And what I've seen is that it's going to be $600 and that there's going to be a payment plan for basically 6 months at $100 a month. And that's pretty much the only new information. And it'll go on sale in May.
I mean, so it's gorgeous. I mean, what we saw is what it's want.
Nuts. I mean, it's. I don't even. I don't know where I'm going to put it, and I only collect one thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to have to like buy a table, I guess. Like I don't even know. Like I have no idea where I'm going to put it.
Oh, don't worry. Some third-party company will release a special Snake Mountain-themed display stand.
I guess. I mean, I have no idea. You know, right now my castle is like, all my other He-Man stuff is downstairs, and my castle is upstairs in like our dining room on top of the china cabinet, so that I can see it more often.
As one does.
Right, and it just happens to be like the space between the top of the china cabinet and the ceiling is like perfect. It just happens to be the exact amount of space.
We keep the fancy silver in the Grayskull dungeon.
Yes, exactly. That's where we keep the fine china and the power of Grayskull, and the secret of the elders. But oh man, you know, I just played with it last night. I brought Myra was here, and so we brought the castle down, and I set it up, and the boys were so excited to show her all the features and the secrets and how to open the drawbridge. You know, so like I'm still getting such play value out of the castle.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I don't. I mean, it's not a question. I'm getting Snake Mountain. Like that's not an issue. It's not not up for debate. I'm absolutely getting it. So that's the hard part. Is like, okay, I'm going to spend $600 on the castle and $250 on this Mega Constructs Castle Grayskull. That's tough. Now, what I haven't heard, because you know sometimes if you buy like, you know, if you do bundled shipping, you know, the bundled shipping is cheaper than just paying for it
for each thing as it is produced or whatever.
So what I haven't the general thing that I've heard is that there'll be a 6-month payment plan at $100 a month. I'm not sure if there's going to be if there's going to be like it's more expensive to do the payment plan rather than just paying the flat $600.
All right.
I'm hoping that that's not the case, because I think that would be, you know, obviously preferable that you can just either, you know, pay your flat $600 if you have the cash and just do it, and not have to pay more to break up the payments.
As someone who doesn't just collect Masters of the Universe classics, much to my dismay, I can tell you that with this Snake Mountain, in the eyes of nerds who do collect more than one thing, here's what Snake Mountain is competing with shipping-wise and dollar-wise. For years, Sideshow Collectibles has been offering payment plans, and there's no difference in final price between doing the payment plan and doing all at once.
That's good.
We as toy collectors are aware of this, and it would be very difficult, I think, for Super 7 to buck that tradition.
All right, well that's good. That's good. That's good news.
The other factor that Super 7 is competing with, and I'm sure they're aware of this, is, you know, HasLabs last year, a new branch of Hasbro that is creating consumer demanded direct products based on pre-orders. Jabba's Sail Barge.
Jabba's Sail Barge was the thing I figured you were saying.
And what they did is it's $500, and that includes the shipping. And that also is something that Super 7 has to be aware of, that you can't charge $600 for the Snake Mountain and then charge an additional $150 for shipping.
Right, yeah.
Because that's something that Hasbro... And let me just say, I know we're talking Masters of the Universe, but this is a very similar situation, I feel. Hasbro was very transparent with every step of the process. Cost-wise, I got an email telling me how the katana... Because I went in on that because 3 3/4-inch Star Wars is still my heart and soul.
Yeah.
I got an email telling me how they were going to pack this thing. Like, Here we are going to take, once the pieces have been hand painted, they will be packed in the carton this way. Then they will be put in special packing pieces we have designed to go inside the interior carton. Then the interior carton will be surrounded with styrofoam blocks that will be put in the exterior. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
The level of transparency Hasbro or HasLab, whatever you want to call it, has had with this thing. As a matter of fact, the last email I got included the assembly instructions, like the old school.
Wow.
For anybody that had Star Wars toys as a kid, you remember the black and white instruction sheets that
sure,
you
yeah.
had to put everything in. Well, it was a PDF of
it looked
those.
just like that, yeah.
Yes. Oh, dude.
Great.
I just looking at that, like tears came to my eyes. Like, oh my gosh, this is not because I was getting this amazing toy, which I'm very excited about, but because these people understood. And I feel the same way about Super 7.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
They understand. These guys are toy fans. These guys are artists. These guys want... And look, I know there's been some criticism of the first couple of waves of Super 7 and what's happened, but that's all... To me, that's all learning curve. To me, that's all... We now know we're learning how to deal with these overseas factories. We're learning how to deal with production. We're learning how to give you the best thing we can possibly give you. And yeah, it sucks that some of the stuff hasn't been as awesome as we would have wanted. But these guys care, and it will be because they're us.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And I got to say, I just got my new shipment of my Club Grayskull, and they've redone the packaging. It's like all four figures come in a cardboard box.
Uh-huh.
Inside that cardboard box is another cardboard box that has that has the mailer boxes inside, and then inside those 4 mailer boxes are the actual boxes of the figures.
See, and that's beautiful, because that's something you only learn after shipping a wave. Exactly. And getting feedback and seeing how everything works, and yeah, it's a tough process if you're a fan, if you're a customer. But like I said, these guys, all you have to do is look at their history as a company to know that they do care and that they are fans of all of this stuff. And
they really recognized, that their customer service situation was pretty bad. And they've redone that pretty much from the ground up. It is different. The website feels different when you order the stuff. It's much more streamlined. They have made a lot of improvements, it seems. And which is I need to now. I feel like it's too late because my Triclops got screwed up, but I think it's probably too late to complain now, but...
maybe not.
Yeah.
You don't know, man.
Yeah, that's true. I need to. It's just like on the bottom of the to-do list with everything else I got to do. It's yeah.
Mr. Beau Brown is a busy man.
I'm a busy guy, yeah. But yeah, the problem is that, a lot of the new heads are made out of much harder plastic, and so it's harder to switch them out. And when I pulled Triclops' head off, because he came with a separate head. Like they were like, oh, we shipped the Triclops with a head that the visor didn't swivel.
Oh, ooh.
And so, but they fixed it. They sent every single person got a new Triclops head that worked for free.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But when I tried to pull the original Triclops head off, the head peg I pulled too hard.
Oh no!
I heated up, and the entire head peg came off.
Now,
and
dude, I guarantee if you contact them, they will take care of you.
Probably.
I really think so.
But I know that you need to heat it up. I know that I should have.
Yeah, but I really think if you contact
they have been pretty
them,
cool. Yeah.
I think you should pursue it. I think they'll take care of you.
Probably. I'm a pretty good customer.
So yeah, right. Yes. So
be like, please send me a new Triclops. FYI, I'm gonna buy Snake Mountain.
right. If you want to ship them together, that's fine. Just do that.
Go for it. Just pop that Triclops in there. It's fine.
So we got a couple other things to discuss.
Yes.
And that is Masters of the Universe Classics Club Grayskull Wave 4.
Which looks great.
And I got to say, like, that Roboto, man.
Here's what I don't know, though, is I haven't done the digging, but I don't know if the gears work.
Oh, interesting.
I haven't taken the time to, like, dig through the He-Man forum to the He-Man.org forum to find if there's an answer to it. But you know, Super 7 does, you know, routine, you know, Q&As, and none of the ones that have come out have answered the question, like, do the gears spin? Does his mouth open and close when you spin the gears? So I don't know. But otherwise, he looks great, and I love the way that he looks. Modulok's neck is kind of weird.
Yeah, it looks like something.
I don't know.
It looks a little too like Reanimator-y.
I don't know, but I think that it's like what it looked like on the show. So it's like,
yeah, it probably is, huh?
I don't know, like, you know, and he comes with a couple of different other cool parts and stuff, and he's got like a different set of hands, and
I mean the heads are incredible. I mean, they look.
No, it all looks great.
Well, and the hands, look at those hands. The hands look great. Yeah, he's the neck is super weird, but you're right. It probably is. It probably is exactly what he looked like.
Yeah.
Now, who's Katrina?
I don't know. She's a cat girl. I don't know. I'm sure she's in some episode that I don't remember. She's a, you know, cat chick. She's fine. Whatever. You know, cat girls. But Modulok looks great, and then like the total monkey face Stratos. Weird cartoon Stratos that just looks weird. You know, he's going to be fine. And then, like, Prince Adam. I do kind of feel like I have a lot of Prince Adams at this point. But, you know, I'm happy to get him. And then the Shadow Weaver looks awesome. But she doesn't look that much different from the classic Shadow Weaver.
Right.
Really? You know? And I definitely like Prince Adam coming with the power sword with all the lightning around it. I think that's pretty great.
That's beautiful. Well, and actually...
that line having the bendable wrists, the wrist joints.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. That's going to look
really cool,
well,
I think, on display.
And to go back to Stratos, he actually comes with a lot more stuff than I would have expected, because he's got a different jetpack, and he comes with the staff and with the sword.
The staff of Avion, yeah.
Like, I'm happy that they're really bulking these guys out with neat Filmation accessories.
Well, I think because they don't really do a lot of paint. You know, they save so much on the paint on these guys because it's, you know, just like one tone, there's no shading, and like all the accessories are like very monochromatic. So, you know, I think that they're throwing in more stuff with less paint.
Right,
you know?
Right.
So that all looks good. I am not collecting the vintage style wave.
I'm not either, but this wave...
But you're going to get that trap jaw.
Dude, well, I'm definitely going to get that trap jaw. But, man, Merman looks fantastic. He is the merman. He's the animated mermaid of my dreams.
Yeah.
I like Adam with his little fuzzy soft goods vest.
Yeah.
But
Orko looks really good.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to shock the world now and say that Orko is great, and his little magic effect is one of my favorite accessories I've seen from this part of the Super 7 Masters stuff.
Yeah. He looks great. I mean, you're right. The Orko is really special, you know, especially because it isn't like a, you know, standard buck, you know, type figure.
Right.
And then Shadow Weaver too, she looks so good. But then they do Crystal Man-at-Arms and Ice Tila and Gold He-Man, and I'm like...
Well, and that's the next thing. That's the next thing I wanted to ask you about, because, you know, you and I both, well, you probably more so than me over the years, as we've had these conversations about Masters of the Universe, dating back to the very first episode of the Needless Things podcast. Okay, so episode 1 was you and me talking about Masters of the Universe Classics. This is episode 253. 254.
Aww.
254 episodes later, or 253 episodes later, we're still talking about Masters. And in general, you've been more lenient with stuff that we know needs to be done to make money for the company to keep making the toys.
Right.
I saw Crystal Man-at-Arms, which is directly from an episode. It's not
all of them are directly from episodes.
Right. It's all
real stuff from the show.
Right. These aren't just bullshit things that they made up. They're legit variants. And I've got to say, as the guy who tends to be a little more cynical about these kinds of things, these don't bother me. Now, granted, part of it is because the Man-at-Arms and the Tila are translucent. You know how I feel about that.
Right, I know how you feel about that. Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I feel like, these are $15 a piece. Well, I think if you order them from Super 7, they're $15 plus shipping. If you find them at FYE, I think they might be $20. But in modern terms, $20 or less is figure
pretty
price. Good. That's what this stuff costs.
Yeah.
I honestly don't mind these variants just because, like I said, they're not bullshit. They have a source. They're a thing.
I think the only reason that I'm bothered by it is that I'm not collecting the line.
Right.
So I'm not. If I was invested, if I was like, oh, I get all this stuff, so I'll get these too.
Right.
Because I'm not collecting this line.
Your brain isn't in justification mode.
Right. I don't have to validate it to myself to tell myself, I don't have to justify it.
Right.
So I'm not.
but I've got to say, if I was collecting this line, and look, I'm glad I didn't commit to it in the beginning, because I've just got too much already.
No, I feel very good about my choice. Basically, I chose the Mondo figures over these. That was the choice.
Right.
I decided that I wanted the super articulated, super detailed ones, and and to get fewer of them that cost more money.
Yeah.
Than buy into this.
Well, I'm sure it's going to cost out about.
It's a choice I feel good about.
Yeah. But I do have a lot of fondness for this line because in my head as a kid, this is what the figures should have looked like.
Should have looked like, exactly. No. And the Trapjaw dynamite.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
He's beautiful.
They're using the right bright colors. They're fantastic. But if I had a shelf of these, I would be A-okay with these weird episode-specific variants that they're doing. I'm okay with these. These are fine.
I think that I might pick up Orko as the only one of these just because it looks so good.
He really does. I hate Orko, but that's a great figure.
They really just nailed every single detail. He really does just look perfect. And had he looked like that that's what he should have looked like back in the day, the original.
Yeah.
So that's the vintage line. What do you want to talk about any of the other stuff?
Yeah, what else have we got? What else have we got?
Well, there's like the Toxie, the Conan.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was going to bring up because I'm curious to hear your thoughts about those. They're in the same style and scale as the Masters of the Universe Classics. They are releasing a Toxic Avenger, but it's the Toxic Crusader cartoon version of Toxie. And then a Conan based on the art of Barry Windsor Smith. I think Toxie looks incredible.
Yeah, no, I do too. I won't be getting them. I think it's a great idea. And in the Pixel Dan interview with Michael Flynn, he was like, we've been doing this master scale, and it's a really good scale and level of detail for toys. And we'd always kind of been kicking around this idea of what if we did other properties. And so Conan was the first one they decided to do. They were like, well, that makes a lot of sense because it's He-Man, it's Conan. Let's do a Conan because, Conan was, He-Man was just, doing Conan without calling it Conan.
He was non-copyright infringing Conan.
Exactly. That then blossoms into this, incredible other thing.
Yeah.
But it makes absolute sense that the first character they would choose to do would be Conan, and then they're like, okay, well, cool. Conan turned out really good. Who else can we do? And so they're like, let's think about toys, because He-Man is about the toys. So they did the Toxie, and toys with cartoons. So they did the Toxie, and they did the Voltron one, and then the Optimus and Megatron, who aren't in the same style, but have the same sort of like look of looking like the cartoon.
There'll be that 7-inch scale with those proportions. It's kind of the same thing as what NECA does. Is they call it a 7-inch scale. The
Transformers and the Voltron are bigger. They're taller than they are bigger.
Oh, I thought they were 7 inches.
No, if you look, you look at them. They're in the picture.
Well, I'm going around trying to find.
They're on the same shelf as those, and you can see that they're bigger.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah,
that's
you can
cool.
see Voltron's taller than Toxie.
Okay,
but I would say like Voltron's shoulders come up to the top of Toxie's head.
Okay,
and he's a little taller, but not by a huge amount.
I gotta say I don't love the Conan.
Sure.
It's okay. I wish the alternate head didn't also have horns on it. That's a weird choice to me, to include two heads that both have just slightly different horned helmets.
Right.
I like him, but I'm probably not going to get him. I've got a few Conan figures already. And the Toxie...
I'll stick with the He-Man stuff.
I love the Toxie. If he's up at the same time as something else I'm buying from Super 7...
And you can get it on the shipping, yeah.
Right. I'll probably throw him in there. But I'll tell you what was most interesting to me was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles placard that was on the same shelf.
It's a no-brainer.
I only just now realized, because I had seen that placard out of context all weekend. I thought it was near all the reaction stuff. So I thought we were going to get 3 3/4-inch Ninja Turtle figures. Mm-hmm. This is just now talking to you and going through, which, by the way, thefwoosh.com has some really good coverage, as well as toyark.com. But this is the first time I've seen that Turtles placard next to the Conan figure, so that's much more interesting to me.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Yes.
Because, definitely for me, but I think for so many other collectors and kids of my generation, you went from He-Man to Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
That's what you did, because the lines were very similar in the sense that, you had this huge variety of characters.
Well, and they all looked like they were taking dumps.
Well, sure, there's that with the rubber legs, but the idea was that
aesthetically,
Turtles had the same element of attraction for me that He-Man did, which was, here's this huge ensemble cast of super different, wacky characters. That was what separated it from G.I. Joe and what separated it from Transformers, which was a line about army guys and a line about robots. And, Ninja Turtles had that same, like, kitchen sink approach to characters, where you just had robots and mutants and all sorts of crazy stuff.
You know what just hit me, though, with us sitting here talking? All right, so Masters of the Universe, 5-inch scale, and we all know how those original figures looked. Playmates did Ninja Turtles and the Toxic Crusaders line that both had the same aesthetics as the Masters of the Universe line.
Absolutely.
All three of those lines are pretty much interchangeable. They were all the 5-inch scale. They were all that squatting sort of action-ready look. And I've never thought about it before, how closely, we've discussed thematically how Masters of the Universe and Ninja Turtles are similar.
Design
but yes, aesthetically they're similar as well. And you're right, this makes all the sense in the world.
It makes all the sense in the world. And so to have Ninja Turtle figures which I collected. I mean, I left. I went out of as after He-Man sort of fell apart, and New Adventures was a giant disappointment. Ninja Turtles came along to fill that void.
Yeah.
And so I had tons of Ninja Turtle figures, and I think I probably won't buy into it because I've made my choice to only spend my money on the He-Man stuff. And they're probably going to go deep into Ninja Turtles. I mean, I think that when you look at what they've done with He-Man, obviously on the Tales of Classics, but like the catalog of Ninja Turtle characters that they're going to, if they have the license, which they do, there are hundreds of characters in that line.
What's so crazy to me is, Playmates has had the Ninja Turtles license from the start. Now Nickelodeon has it. Playmates were always very, very selective about who they licensed toys out to. NECA were one of the only ones, and they just did, years ago, they did the comics figures. And then Nickelodeon got the license and became even more selective about who was able to use Ninja Turtles. But now we have these Ninja Turtles, whatever form they're going to take, coming from Super 7. But we also have announced, we have the movie Ninja Turtles showing up at GameStop from NECA that are some of the best action figures I've ever bought in my life.
Yeah, excellent. Mondo did the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Mondo did the comic-based Ninja Turtles, the 12-inch scale. And we have NECA's cartoon-based Ninja Turtles showing up in Target in the 2-packs. Mm-hmm. Which presumably what Super 7 is doing is also going to be classic 80s cartoon based, because that's the logo that they used, and it's what would fit with this range and scale.
Yeah, I think that what you'll get from the Ninja Turtle line is like Club Grayskull. You're gonna get figures that look very much like the show, but I think that they will probably. I feel like because they are a toy company, though, there's got to be some nod to the original toy line, and so you're going to get some characters that weren't necessarily on the show, because they made tons of characters on the show. They just invented, characters.
Well, and then there's also the possibility that Super 7's just going to go crazy and do a 7-inch line and a vintage line like they've done with Masters.
Right. That's true. That's also likely.
Because...
but there are so many cool characters, and I just feel like they're going to have people designing them and making the design choices and the character choices that were Ninja Turtles toy collectors.
Sure.
And so you're going to get like characters that were that guy's favorite toy. They're going to do, they're going to do like some weird deep cut. We'll probably, we'll get into the basics. We'll get the Ninja Turtles. We'll get, Splinter and Casey Jones and, and April, Baxter Stockman, Krang, Shredder, Foot Guys, the basics. But I'll be really interested to see who they go with beyond that.
And I think for anybody listening that's having trouble visualizing what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might look like in a Masters of the Universe Classic style, if you go to the Fwoosh or Toy Arc and find that picture of the Toxic Avenger or the Toxic Crusaders figure, I think that's a really good visual cue as to how you can adapt that squat 5-inch style into this 7-inch style.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do in April. Like, will April sort of have the Tila body?
Right.
That'd be real interesting to see. But then the other thing, though, too, is that the Ninja Turtles, other than the Turtles themselves, didn't have standard bucks. It was lots of new tooling on everybody. So it'll be interesting to see what different characters they do. You might be able to get away with some shared parts between like Casey Jones and Shredder and the Foot Guys, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, obviously the 4 Turtles, basically all you have there is the different belts and the different heads.
Yeah, sure. But the turtles don't have human bodies. They have weird turtle oval bodies.
Right, exactly. So that right there, the fact that they have 4 shared bucks right out of the gate is gold to a toy company.
Yeah.
But
then what about the other characters? So what about, all the other characters are going to need new tooling for everything.
I think they can work their way around it. I think they're smart enough to still be able to use that basic He-Man buck and get away with a lot. But you're right. Once you get to stuff like, if you get to stuff like Mondo Gecko and Mutagen Man and Muckman and
Ray Fillet and
and the Toads, you really are getting pretty far afield of the standard
Leatherhead. All those characters had very wildly unique body shapes.
Which makes me wonder if we maybe just get the Turtles.
I don't know. I think that if they're going to do it, if Super 7's going to do Turtles like classics, I think that they're going to really embrace it as a catalog of characters. That's my guess, is that they're going to be like, we have this thing now. There were literally tons and tons and tons of incredibly cool character designs in the original. So, what if this is it? What if they're going to classics Turtles?
Right. Interesting.
And do everything. We're going to have the same consistent scale, and we're going to do the Turtles, black and white Turtles from the comics, do movie versions of them, and do a Ninja Turtles Classics line.
That's interesting.
I think that there's a very strong chance that they might.
Well, here's what we're going to do.
Because they could do those figures. I mean, that's 10 years at least of figures that they could do. The well does not run dry on Turtles.
Right here, you and I are going to have a wager.
All right.
For one shiny dollar. I am betting one shiny dollar. My bet is that they're looking at just doing the Turtles and perhaps variants of the Turtles, and that's as ambitious as they're getting with the Ninja Turtles line.
I think that they might. They have proven that they play the long game, and I think that they will probably, obviously, take the market feedback. They will do the 4 Turtles and see how it sells. And unless it's like a bomb, I think that they might go full classics and dig super deep.
Well, when we
because think about it. Like, if you look at the generations of people, classics started in what, like 2012, 2011, 2010?
Yeah, something like that. I think Grayskull came out in like 2010, maybe.
No, I mean, like 2000. Yeah, I mean, like, classics has been going on for a really long time.
No, Grayskull came out in like 2008, didn't he?
Okay, so like early 2000s, right? Okay, so
you just keep on talking. I'm looking it up right now. I got to know. You keep on talking.
So you're looking at a generation of kids who grew up collecting He-Man, and then they did classics for us.
Dude, I am the man. The first King Grayskull figure, the one that before classics was even a line, was 2008.
Right. All right, so here we are, 10 years later.
So you're right, about a decade.
About a decade later, which is like the time difference between He-Man and Turtles.
Oh no, that's
that
not
age group. The age group of kids that were the Turtles kids are now aging into.
Can I blow your mind?
Collectors.
Can I blow your mind? So Masters of the Universe started to really die around 87.
Yep.
Turtles launched in 88.
Yep.
How wild is that?
I'm telling you. No, it made perfect sense. They filled the void. I mean, that's why I went from He-Man to Turtles.
Yeah, that's
it was right there waiting for me with all the things I loved about He-Man in a new line, in a new toy line. So I think that the timing is perfect for them to test the waters with the scale, with the 4 turtles, and then potentially classics the turtles.
You might just be onto something here. Okay, so before we wrap this thing up, we have one last thing that we have to discuss, and it's controversial. It's crazy. It's wild. We don't even know what's going on with it, but that is the Masters of the Universe film that is set to start filming in July in Prague. Okay, so this movie.
I have a friend because Prague is a huge puppetry in Prague is a whole thing.
Of course it is.
And so she's like, "Hey, Beau, did you hear that they're filming a Masters of the Universe movie?" And I'm like, "They have been trying to make a Masters of the Universe movie for 10 years, 15 years. It's not going to happen until I see the trailer. Literally, until I see the trailer for the fucking movie, I don't care. I don't care."
So here's what we know so far. We know that the release date is December 18th, 2019.
Sure is.
We know that David Goyer wrote the script and has leaked, air quotes, leaked some concept art on Twitter.
When? When was that?
That was, I don't have a date on it, but remember we saw some wacky-ass looking battle armor for Tila.
Ugh, that garbage. The power armor Tila bullshit.
Yes,
Ugh.
This was back in December.
Garbage.
Yeah, it looked terrible. We have a director attached. I'm actually trying to find the name right now.
There's been like 20 directors attached.
Yes, but we have a current director.
It's like He-Man.org did interviews with the guy who was like, "I went into the Mattel offices and the Sony offices with my box of vintage He-Man toys that I had as a kid, and I wanted to make this movie, and that guy didn't make the movie. Like, that didn't happen." So I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't until I see the trailer, until I see a cast, until I see anything other than like the idea that they're like, "Oh, we're filming in Prague on these dates." Like, with what? Who's filming? What movie are you filming? Or are you just like giving yourself a deadline and hoping you're going to figure it out? Like, that doesn't seem like a way to make a movie.
Okay, so that release date, that December release date, is no longer a thing. Sony has
What do you know?
Has dropped that release date, but according to Production Weekly, who, as far as I know, is a reliable source.
Oh, I'm sure that people have plans. They put things on the books. They've reserved the space.
This was,
but that doesn't mean they're buying bagels and coffee for people yet.
2 weeks ago on this day, Production Weekly posted updated production schedule and location for Sony's Masters of the Universe from the directing duo of Aaron and Adam Nee. Principal photography is due to get underway mid-July in Prague. Now,
with no cast and no director.
With no cast. No, they've got a director. They've got 2 directors, Beau.
Oh, good.
2 directors. It'll be twice as good.
It'll be and hopefully the 50th time's the charm.
So here are the big movies that these 2 directors are responsible for thus far. The Last Romantic from 2006 and Band of Robbers from 2015. I would like to note that The Last Romantic does not even have a Wikipedia entry.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, here's what's
Sony doesn't know what they're doing. No. They don't know what they're doing.
You know what they know? They know that they're shooting in Prague in July.
Tell you what, look, give the guys who made Into the Spider-Verse the project and then just leave them the fuck alone.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding, right?
Do that. I would take that over a live-action He-Man movie any goddamn day of the week.
Yeah.
Give me that movie.
I'm on board with that. All right, well, Mr. Beau Brown, I think we have thoroughly covered all of the Masters of the Universe news that is fit to be covered. How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't do the reaction line either. So I mean, I know they released a bunch of new stuff for that, but I'm not collecting that. Although I will say the Horde stuff does look really good. The horde stuff is almost tempting me to get some of those.
Well, it all looks exactly like it should look. Whether or not that aesthetic is interesting to you is a separate thing, but they're nailing that line.
No, it looks great.
It's just whether or not you're into it.
Yeah, I have to. I can't collect it all.
No, and there's no reason you should. I grabbed my guys. I got Trapjaw and I got Scareglow from that line, and I didn't even open them because the packaging art is too gorgeous to open.
Good. Yeah, it's so good.
So they're up on my wall, and they look great. I'm happy I've got them, but I don't have any compulsion to get everything else. Although I do feel that they'd fit really, really well with the original Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
But
that's true. They would look really good in there, yeah.
Right.
They're the size that makes the castle look impressive,
right.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Like every time I look at them and that, because I've got a vintage Grayskull next to all my He-Man stuff, and I'm like, every time I look at them with that, I'm like, no, don't do it.
Well, when I play with the boy, when I bring the toys out with the boys, we play with the muscles in the vintage castle.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's great. It's like it totally works. The castle just seems gigantic, and it's awesome. So anyway, all right. Well, this was great. I'm excited about the new stuff, and thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming back on the show. You got to sign us out though.
All right. Good journey.
Good journey. Please check out the folks who provide our lovely interstitial music that breaks up the intro and the meat of the episode, as I like to call it. Go to themysterymenofsurf.com. Check out their new album, Firewalkers. It is awesome and great, and you should be hearing some of it very, very soon. Well, you've already heard one track, but you should be hearing more of it very, very soon here on the Needless Things podcast. And also, please go to, if you're of age, if you're 18 or over, go to lesexoflex.com and check out some of the best music available on the internet. It is filthy and dirty and hilarious, and you are listening to one of their tracks right now, Procrastinate, which I selected years ago because to me it just was the best encapsulation of my work ethic. So please check out our musical friends there. And check out the Center for Puppetry Arts. I cannot remember the website right now, but I mean, come on, we know how Google works. If you look up Center for Puppetry Arts, it is in Atlanta. It is one of the best experiences you can have in Atlanta, and there are always exciting live events going on, as well as the permanent Museum of Puppetry, the most unique of its kind in the entire world. And a lot of that credit for things there go to Mr. Beau Brown. So thank you, Beau, for everything that you do for the center, everything that you do for Dragon Con, everything that you do for puppetry and entertainment in general. Tune in next week for I don't know what, but I do know we have an all-new Needless commentary for March. It's exciting. It's great. You're going to love it. I love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you. Mean it. Uh-huh.